Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Beyond Second Cognition. I'm Beall. The topic of this discussion is a new book release called Imprint, The Human Signature on the Cosmos. Probably 2/3 of humanity or more is concerned about what happens to them in the afterlife. Is their ego personality going to continue on forever, or is just our life ending with death or whatever? This seems to be a problem that plagues a lot of people's imaginations. They don't deal well with the finality of death and the afterlife, heaven, whatever you want to call it. Fixation with this species weighs heavily on a lot of people. We live in a very strange cosmos, and it's a lot bigger than our simple black and white human explanations about the ego personality living forever in heaven or the happy hunting ground, or however you want to describe it. We have been provided messages from a number of different sources, some of it in Barbara Marciniak's Bringers of the Dawn, more extensively in the Conversations with God books, and more recently in the Way Back Home volumes, the Abe Communications. And humanity needs to really pay attention to these things if they want to figure out how the cosmos works, alleged life after death, and things of that nature. It's not as simple as we want to believe. Do you live on in a sense after you die? Yeah, but not in the sense that you think. I've been given permission to utilize the material in the Abe Communications and the Way Back Home books. The Imprint book that I've just released relies on what Abe is communicating. In a sense, you could say I'm translating or interpreting these messages through my perceptions. I'd like to be able to do the same thing with Conversations with God books, but they're too extensive, and I've probably got about zero chance of translating those. But perhaps if you read the Imprint book, where I pulled material from the first volume of the Aid Communications, The Way Back Home, then if you visit the Conversations with God material, you will see correlations to where the message is basically the same. It's the same message that was delivered in the New Paradigm trilogy. But because people are programmed to think in a certain way to reach certain conclusions, they haven't stretched themselves perceptually enough or cognitively enough to see a bigger game at play than what we think with our simplistic human intellect and our emotional fixation on wanting to live forever. I've got the book priced reasonably at $14. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. It's also available through other booksellers if you're boycotting Amazon and Kindle. But if you're wanting to broaden your perceptions in a genuine sense, to try and comprehend the greater whole of what I call the actuality, what Abe refers to as the zero-point field, then this book is a good starting place. I highly recommend reading the Way Back Home volumes, but because the communication is very enigmatic, I felt that it was a necessity to try and translate it for other people to understand what's being related better. You don't have to agree with my conclusions, but you're also free to come up with your own if you read the material. I will be doing a secondary volume, which is going to take a while to write, based on the Way Back Home Volume 2. There's more material in that I feel needs commentary than there was in the first book. It's going to take a while on that one. I'm not even going to put a forecast date, so this Imprint is going to be the last book for a while, I think, if I don't work on something between now and doing integration. You might want to take a look at this and see if you can get a handle on what's causing the chaos in the world, why we're going through what we're going through as a planetary species. I covered part of it in Chaos, Collapse, and Men, which I released just recently. But for the most part, if you want the really expansive answers, and if you really think you're ready for everything, you might want to check out this book. For those of you doing the work, stay the course. Don't give up on yourselves.